Well, good morning. Out here in the shop, getting a kind of an early start. The thing back there, that way, did 2 of those studies. The next 2 mysteries, I've done those. Kind of getting over a little bit of a cold, not a real bad one or anything, just a little bit of congestion and whatever. So I apologize for sounding a little bit under the weather, but doing fine. Used a lot of herbal teas and things like that to get better. Good nutrition, herbal tea. Dressing warm. Put my coat on here. But right there behind me, made this shelf. Oliver and I made that yesterday. Going to be going into the office. Used a bunch of scrap wood and things. I needed a shelf for storing some things in there. And but yeah, getting some stuff done out here, which is good. But I just made a video. One of the videos I did was on this book right here, King James's book on demonology. And so I'll be talking about that in other videos. There's going to be a number of videos coming out about this book. There's some real fascinating things. But I just wanted to go over this, what's said in this book at one point. I think it's a rather interesting thing. He says here, as it is said in the logic schools, contra negantium principia non est disputandum, Latin. Always for that role that witchcraft and witches have been and are, the formal part is clearly proved by the scriptures. Again, this book is about King James judging witchcraft in his, kingdom. That's what it's about. It's not him telling you how to get in contact with demons or get the power of witchcraft or something like that. All right, but this issue of logic here, you go down to the footnote and it reads here, a principle of logic, the Latin reads, against those who deny the foundations, there can be no debate. This means that if a basic fundamental understanding cannot be agreed upon, it is useless to argue on topics from which they derive. All right, I have been offered the chance to debate multiple people. People have tried to set up debates between me and James White, me and Stephen Anderson, me and Kent Hovind, lots of people. And I've always said no to that. I've had Trinitarians offer to debate me, Catholics offer to debate me, and whatever else. And the reason I say no, and the reason I don't believe in debating is because, especially I'll just use Trinitarianism as an example. If you're a Trinitarian, then you go outside of the scriptures to prove your system. But my problem with that is that my authority lies in the scriptures. So how can I have a debate with somebody when we have 2 different authorities? If you believe that you can add to the scriptures, well, I don't. So you say, well, I can prove that God is in 3 persons. You can't prove it from the scriptures, And so what happens is I'm not able to debate somebody like that, and they would just declare victory and whatever. And I've watched so many different debates and things over the years, and the whole concept of the modern debate is that you want to be able to destroy the person intellectually, make them look like a fool, thereby destroy their position. And I've had people openly say that to me. Oh, so-and-so would destroy you in a debate. You debate me, I'll destroy you. So it's a pride competition, And, my flesh wants to. That's the whole thing. My flesh, a couple times I think, I'd really like to just, get in there and I'll destroy them. That's not of the Lord, okay? I will talk with people. I will give the arguments for my beliefs. Absolutely, not a problem. But I will not debate on that issue. Debate is listed as one of the sins in Romans chapter 1. Murder, debate, deceit, things like that. The things of the flesh. That's why I'm not interested. I don't know if you can see out back here. It's snowing right now. I don't know if you can see out back there. Looks really beautiful. But I'm not going out there because trying to get over my cold here. But that is why I don't debate. And, I can get prideful and say, I could easily destroy these. But that's not why I'm supposed to do that. Or not why I'm here and whatever. I'm trying to teach people the scriptures. I'm trying to teach people the mysteries, the 7 mysteries right there. And people don't agree with it or whatever else. Well, if I'm not going to change their mind, then what is the point? But if you see me out in public sometime and whatever, and you want to stop me and say, hey, Brian, I have some questions about some things that you believe and whatever. Okay, if you're civil about it, I don't have a problem with that. I've talked to many people that I disagree with. We part our ways and whatever else, and not a problem. But actual debating, no. If we don't have the same standard, if we don't have the standard of Scripture, then sorry, we're not going to get along. And that book on demonology there that King James wrote, what he did is he actually uses a tactic, which I myself use, which is interesting because I never understood, I didn't understand it, but it's Plato did the same thing, and that is that you create kind of an artificial debate back and forth. And so King James was a very brilliant man, if you didn't know that. And he would, I think it was Philemon and Epistemon or something like that, and the one guy would ask questions and the other guy would answer. And he was making it as a hypothetical thing. It wasn't two actual people. But he's going over the thing of, how do you deal with witches in this situation? Do they actually have the power? And then the other guy would answer. And so I do the same thing with my preaching. I'll say the non-dispensational comes along and he says this, and the way you answer him is that. Okay, it's one of the forms of logic. You argue and debate. You look at the situation. You have to learn. Okay, what do the enemies of dispensationalism teach? What do the enemies of the King James Bible teach? What are the enemies of like Roman Catholics? What would Roman Catholics teach as opposed to Protestants? And you study, and then you bring it out as logical argumentation between the two. And somebody from the other side can come along and they can correct you and say, okay, in a civil manner, here's what you don't understand. We actually do teach this, or we do teach that. And there have been times I've been corrected from my enemies, and I have to change what I say and say, okay, I misrepresented. I'm sorry. And so I try to do that. But hopefully I'll answer that question again, and hopefully I can warn you, if you are a young believer out there, young believer in the faith, stay away from this debate stuff and arguments and whatever. Again, I don't really believe in the apologetics type of thing. I think that's not a good concept, because you're basically forming, it's just all based on debating and arguing. And a lot of times these guys that are into apologetics type of stuff, they don't even know the mysteries themselves. So it's kind of a problem. I'm stepping on a piece of firewood back there. So, but that's going to be it. I need to get inside now and whatever. I've been out here for a few hours now, and it's kind of messing my throat up a little bit, but I'll be fine. So thank you to everybody out there that prays for the ministry, and there's some real good videos coming out. I've seen some things. That book, I set it over there now, but that book, there's some real big revelation type of things that I'm going to be bringing out about some stuff that I've been wondering about for years. So some good videos coming out here, but that's going to be it. As always, thank you very much for your support, and thank you for watching.